to me, Rob.
Well, I agree. I don't even know how to comment on it. I believe that Tippett was right with what he said, and I mean, I, I
Well, that's not exactly what I wanted to fucking see. How our season end. Absolute kind of a disgraceful series there. Um, you know, I'm gonna quote Youngblood. You guys could skate around with the carton of eggs and not break any. Uh, like afraid to play a physical brand of hockey. That was way too casual, way too pedestrian. Um, yeah, we had 4 months without hockey to watch that shit show. Like, um, I would have thought Cassian would have been running guys through the walls and maybe taking too many penalties, but you know, he didn't really show up until about the third period tonight. Like, it's way too late. Like, and now you've got what, 3-4 months to think about it. Um, Absolute fucking ridiculous. I don't even know what to say. You know, for years, I guess on a positive note for me is for years you'd watch a game, you'd watch the season die, and wouldn't even affect you really because you knew it was going to happen. This was a series that was there for the taking, but I think we were too casual. We thought we'd have it, in the bag, and every reporter in Edmonton saying we'd win in 4 games, if not a sweep, probably got inside these guys' heads, and they took Chicago too lightly, and figured it was just going to be a walk in the park, and it wasn't. Um, right off the get go, Tippett going to Mike Smith, and I think I know why he did that. Smith was a veteran goalie. He's had playoff experience in the NHL, and Mikko didn't. Mikko big time outplayed Mike in kind of their training camp here and most of the season. Um, but he gave Mike the start, and to me, that game one, I thought Mike Smith was nervous in net. I He looked jittery, and when he was playing the puck, it was a little faster than normal. Like he wasn't taking that extra second to make a good pass like sometimes he does. And then on that play where he gifted Chicago a goal, I think he froze up for a second there. He didn't have a pass. He had nobody really to give it to because nobody was open. So what he should have done is rifled that thing, sent McDavid an aerial that landed around center ice and was close to hitting the scoreboard. That's really what he should have done. Obviously, that didn't happen. That gave Chicago life, and that goal, the way that was scored, I think that gave Chicago a belief, and they never lost that belief. Um, Chicago, didn't take us for granted. They knew we were a good team. They did a lot of things, played simple hockey, got guys in front in lanes, and made pucks hard to see. And our big goalies, Mike Smith is I think 6'4", probably 6'6", 6'5" on skates. Mikko's almost 6'9" on skates. They couldn't see over any of the traffic, or didn't bother to try, or too low in their crouch or whatever it is, but couldn't make any of those saves. I remember Grant Fury used to have traffic in front of him. He wasn't a big guy, but he would give you a couple of those saves. And sometimes that's the difference. We got schooled on the face-off dot when it really mattered. Key draws. Kevin Bieksa is going to preach all day that we need a third line or fourth line right-handed center, or a right-handed center period, for some of those key draws. Um, if you're going to be a lefty and you're going to be in a key draw situation, late in a period or on a PK or a PP, um, tie up a guy's stick, kick the puck back to your defenseman, or have a winger come in and collect it. There's other ways to win draws than trying to win every draw clean. That's something that needs to be learned and reeled in a hurry. Um, yeah, there's guys out there that didn't get much done, and you need kind of unlikely heroes. You know, I think Yamamoto kind of went quiet in this series. I think that's a little bit to be expected. He's still a rookie, and people have to remember that. But I think in some aspects, Tippett coached against himself. This like towards the tail end of this season, trying to get more depth. Throughout the lineup, he dismantled a line that he geniusly put together with Nuge, Yamamoto, and Draisaitl, but he dismantled something that was working, trying to spread the wealth more, and that might have been a little bit of the undoing here. I think there's McDavid has so much talent and can just score just by blazing past D and cutting in that I don't really think it's nice to have wingers that can play with them, but I think you need to solidify that Draisaitl line and hope and pray that anybody is going to contribute with Connor. And Archibald has actually worked with Connor, so reuniting those two was good. But put Nuge with Dry and Yam right off the start tonight. Don't wait until it's getting late early, like 8 minutes to go in the third period before you give it a whirl. It's too late. You should have went to that after we lost game one. Game two, that's what you come out with. We won game two, yeah, but that's when you go to that. You don't wait until the 11th hour to make that move. Do I want to fire Tippett? No. I think he's going to learn just as much as we are here. And having that line together, I don't think does enough. Our problems were in coverage issues, so I don't think it was. I don't think we had too much trouble putting the puck in the net. Except tonight though, Nurse misses that kind of far side at the end of the game there, and kind of gets crucified for that. But we missed a lot of tap ins too. There was pucks in the crease and in the paint that we couldn't put in the net. A couple posts, there was other areas to cash in. So a lot of problems there. What do you think of our vet D? Well, honestly, I didn't think Clefbaum Larson really had a great showing, all series. I thought 37-year-old Duncan Keith was probably the best defenseman in the series, and at some point that's got to change. Ethan Bear, I think there was a couple things that were exposed on him, but he's a rookie, and I mean he's still making great passes, and he's subtly a really good defender. He angles guys into the walls really well. So I don't really have the other night when the puck went off him and in the net. I don't really fault him for that. It's just bad luck. I thought Chris Russell was probably our best veteran D throughout this series, and Caleb Jones, showed himself well in the two games that he played. I didn't have any issues at all with Caleb. I thought he did fine. Let's face it, there was some ice issues that made some plays a little bit, more interesting than they normally would be. Pucks are rolling, bouncing, kind of mush, and you can't handle it and make a play just as like you normally would. So yeah, I don't know if there's an injury to Draisaitl or not. Early in that game he kind of went for a bit of a ride, but where he went airborne there, trying to make sure that he didn't annihilate Bear. He went airborne and kind of landed on his shoulder, so that might have had a little bit of an effect. But he's a big, strong guy, so probably just shook that off. Oh man, I was really thinking that when we scored first, that the floodgates might open and this would have been a totally different hockey game. uh, power play, picked the wrong time in the season to go cold. And, you know, there's been a few in the last game. There was some really shitty fucking holding calls. I'm just gonna call it like it is, like the Russell double A holding calls were phantom holding calls and just bullshit as far as I'm concerned. It's not the reason why we lost the series, but you give Chicago a 5-on-3, of course they're gonna score on it. And tonight, we've got that 5-minute major, which I think DeBrincat probably should have got the gate as well. It should have been 5 in a game. That was a bullshit hit. There's no place for that as far as I'm concerned in hockey anymore. That needs to be gone. You can ruin a guy's career with that kind of hit. Um, anyway, we're halfway through that, and Nurse is just skating down the ice, and Kajula stops in front of him, and Nurse pushes him a little bit, and they give Nurse an interference call. That was just fucking garbage. Like, I'm sorry. You got to be careful, when you've got a 5-minute major, that some even up bullshit doesn't happen. But that really was bullshit. Like, it wasn't ticky tack. It was just bullshit. There was no interference there on Nurse. It's just crap. So that took 2 minutes out of a 5-minute major. So you could have scored 2-3 goals in that 2 minutes, like it, or at least one. And that part is frustrating to take. I mean, we had plenty of chances to do our thing, but those kind of things deflate and take away. And I just don't. It's not a reason why we lost, but it's just aggravating to see this kind of nonsense, in the game. It's a playoff game. Like, if there's a penalty, it needs to be just, and to me that was unjust. Yeah, or send Panarin to the Oilers. But we're in the hunt now for Lafreniere, so we might be good after all. It's crazy, to think that you should be going going for a little bit deeper run, but you look past. I think there's a looking past Chicago and not giving them enough respect and credit for how good they are. You know, Taves is aging, and so is Kane, and so is Keith, but they're still really good hockey players, and I think Taves probably more than Kane. I don't think Kane's a really vocal guy in the room, but I think Jonathan Taves, you see him and the work that he puts in, and I think that rubs off on people. I knew in game one he had that eye of the tiger kind of look, early on in that game, and he was going to be just relentless. And he did a lot of damage to us. I think actually we got lucky that Kane was fairly well contained by us, but Taves was a monster. I did my best to refrain from crushing lots of beers, but it's probably going to happen pretty soon. I rushed home because the game was 5 o'clock start. I started listening to the first period with Jack and Bob because I was still on the road driving home, and got here in time for the second and third. And beer are at my shop at work, so I'm gonna have to go and grab some so I can crush some to calm down because I'm pretty wound up. That wasn't the funnest experience, that one. I yeah. I think there's lessons to be learned by everybody on the team, and I don't think they should go trading and doing a whole bunch of wild stuff. But I think we sort of got exposed a little bit. Um, I think our goaltending is an area that could probably use an upgrade, whatever that means. But we need somebody that's a bit more of a rock in there. And I'm not gonna hang it all on goaltending because I think there was a lot of coverage issues, but sometimes you just need a save, and in the whole series, I don't think we really got too many of them. Like Mikko stopped a breakaway tonight, and I thought he did settle down after the first period, the first 10 minutes, but when it's those key situations, you just sometimes need a save. We just weren't getting it, and honestly, I still question Schwartz. Like Miko and Mike Smith are both really big goalies, but they play really small. Like they're always down, 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 and it was the same thing with Talbot. Like he was down before the puck even entered the blue line. He's in his crouch and in his butterfly, and you know you got these big goalies, and you get them to come out of the top of their crease and challenge shooters. There's no net anymore because they're so big, but that doesn't happen, and I for the life of me, I can't figure out why. It it's something that I haven't I've yet to fathom why that goes on. Like get out, be aggressive, challenge shooters, and a lot of those point shots too. Like the goalies are down on their knees and they're in their butterfly and the whole top of the net's open. Like you got a 6'7" goalie and you teach him to play on his knees and give up the top half of the net. If he'd stand up and stand in there, he'd see a lot of these shots and have a chance of saving them. But they're just conditioned to be down. Thanks, man. Oilers in 4. uh, Next year maybe. um, yeah. Yeah, and Gaetan Haas had a really good game tonight. I liked him, man. I wish he would have saw more time in this series because he tonight, even just in limited activity, I thought he was a bit of a factor. Got speed and doesn't make dumb plays, and he's in position, and yeah, needed more of that. And there was a lot of talk about Chason and Neal, playing well, but never really accomplished anything. Um, and you know, I guess I got a question too. Like, you've got Neal and he's pushing and he's going and he's kind of playing, with a little bit of that edge, and he kind of gives Kachuk a little bit of a shot, and then has a big grin on his face. And I knew he was kind of playoff ready then, but you never really gave him a chance to shine. I mean, he did get some power play time in that, but you know, when Cassian wasn't going, like throw Neal up on that line. He's a shooter, and let him do his thing. And I don't know, what was said to Zach, if he was neutered like what McClellan used to do or what, but he definitely wasn't playoff, Zach Cassian. And I don't know if it's because Chicago didn't really have a big physical presence out there other than the kid Kirby Doc. So Zach didn't really feel challenged or needed to be hit by somebody to be woken up or what. But he was definitely a ghost of his former self, in the San Jose and Anaheim series the last time we were in this. And I think I said this after game 2. If Chris Russell is your best defenseman, uh, I mean, good on Chris, but that's not a good thing for the Edmonton Oilers. And I thought Chris Russell gave us everything he had, and probably then some, but other guys really needed to step up. Yeah, I called into overtime open line tonight, and my biggest question is, against Chicago, especially with Andrew Shaw out of the lineup, we had an obvious, size advantage with our forwards. And, I would have thought that over the course of a best of 5 series, you would have tried to wear out the Chicago D by kind of chipping pucks in and going and smashing the living fuck out of them. And it it never really materialized until the third period where we started doing a bit of that. The whole series we made it so easy on Chicago by not really inflicting any damage. Like if you look at that series, is there any memorable hits that you really remember? And I really can't think of one that stands out in my head where you just punish somebody. I I think the one that I sort of remember, well, in the last game, Archibald took a run and went to the sin bin. I mean, it was the dumbest penalty of the series, but that was the one time he took a hard run at somebody. Oh, well, Nurse said he thought we played with more intensity, against Calgary in the exhibition game. And you know what? I would probably tend to agree with them. There was more emotion, there was more physicality in that game against Calgary than there was this whole fucking series. Like, I think we got warped into thinking that if we play a possession game and control the puck, that we're just going to outskill Chicago. Well, after game one or partway through game two, we should have realized Chicago has enough skill that they can match skill on skill. So you want to beat them down and wear them down. Chip pucks in, smash the shit out of their defensemen. Make their defensemen make decisions faster than they want to, and that should lead to some turnovers and chances, right? Well, it worked in the third period, but that's too late. You're not going to wear a team down, in the Stanley Cup playoffs after they've been off for 4 months by playing one period of hard hockey. Play the whole 4 games that way, and then see, because by that third period in this game, they would have had a hard time. And we just didn't do that. We didn't take advantage of some of our strengths on the team. And maybe some guys have a hard time buying into being physical, but I don't think so. Like Yamamoto, a lot of times sets the tone of the physicality. It isn't Cassian, it isn't Jujar Kara, it isn't Nurse, it's Yamamoto. You need and Josh Archibald plays the same way. You need everybody to buy into that and get after it. So now everybody's instantly Columbus Blue Jackets fans, I guess, hey? It's funny, just kind of on an aside here, not really 100% Oilers related, but when Columbus plays and their defenseman touches the puck, it's Jones. Jones has the puck. Jones passes. When our defenseman goes and collects the puck and makes a play or skates up ice, it's Caleb Jones. he doesn't get to be just Jones anymore. He has to be Caleb Jones because Seth gets to be just Jones. I've noticed that with commentators. They don't let him be just Jones. He's Caleb all the time. So on a scale of 1 to 100, how pissed off are we? Waiting for the comment section to light up like a Christmas tree here. 1,000, yeah. 101, yeah. Yeah. Uh, you know, I don't think we have to protect Jones because I think he's still on his ELC. I'm not 100% sure on all those rules, but I don't think we need to protect Jones. And there's definitely some things that need to be addressed. Like I don't know if it's Darnell or the systems that they're playing or what, but there's a lot of coverage issues. Like that goal the other night. I don't know if that was Leon's fault or Darnell's fault or what that is, but Darnell's like racing out to the point, and if they're somebody tried to tell me they're in a man-to-man system on face-off plays, that might be so, but there's no reason that Bears left down low and has two Hawks there, like the simple coverage issues. And I'm almost questioning because a lot of these goals that Chicago scored, on the tips and redirects and kind of jam plays, our defensemen aren't like right up on them. So I don't know if they're being taught to, give forward space and not be right on them and let them. To me, it's fucking wrong. Like you should be right up on them, tie up their stick, even take a holding the stick penalty if you have to negate a goal or cross check them into the ice or whatever. But we let them the whole series have kind of free reign. I thought we did a better job of that tonight, but it was too little, too late. But yeah, there's something that's just fucked. Yeah, Oscar was not, himself. I thought, um, when we were coming back to this, that passing might be a bit off just because timing, you haven't played for so long and that. And, you combine that, I think, with the shit ice. Let's face it, the ice has not been good, as these games go on during the day. Pucks are rolling and bouncing and not true. And I think that actually took away a little bit from our power play. Our power play relies on kind of precision passing and then, um, just wasn't available there. And I thought early on in this game, instead of trying to make that extra pass, just start shooting the puck. Put pucks on net and shoot pucks and go for rebounds and that kind of thing. They don't all have to be pretty, but you need to score to win, and that just wasn't happening. But yeah, you know, I got a question now. I thought over in Sweden when Oscar and Adam, because they went back home for months on end and they were allowed to skate in Sweden before. I'm wondering if they actually did because they just didn't seem like themselves. There was something just not right. I think Bear and Nurse were easily the probably the better pairing. But I give Chris Russell credit. He gave us everything the guy has. He played balls out. Um, he's never gonna make the 90-foot stretch passes. That's just not his game. But he's steady as a rock back there. I mean, he gets a lot of flack for making $4 million a year. It's not really his fault. That's Peter Chiarelli's fault. I know if somebody told me I'll pay you $4 million a year to play hockey, I wouldn't turn it down. So I don't fault him for his contract. That's not his fault. It's all like the Henderson bullshit. Like he rides him like he whips him like Kunta Kinte. It's not right. You know, gives the guy a lot of flack. Chris Russell has always given us everything he has, and really, that's it's kind of like Ryan Smith. He gave you everything he had. He maxed out his talent. Chris Russell does the same thing. He might not be the uber talented guy that you'd want, but he gives you everything he has. So I don't really ride his ass for that. I thought Caleb Jones getting injected into this lineup definitely was not a downgrade. He held his own and then some. He was really good for us. I was hoping one of his point shots would find its way through and get into the back of the net because he played pretty well. So, what is everybody doing now? Now that the real off season has begun, I guess. We looked so forward to summer and getting back into this hockey, and I think it angers me probably more than losing out in April because you wanted it back again, and then it did come back, and she gone now. It's over. Imagine Oilers Now show on Monday will be a lot of fun. I don't envy Bob on that one. And I guess the other point, seeing Jack Michaels, he tweeted out after the game, that it's always sad to leave. Did the Hawks play that much better? Hawks played a simple game, really. Um, it's kind of old-fashioned hockey, really, for them. Just you know, work the puck around, get it back to the point, get a lot of bodies in front of the net, and let it go, and get your shots through, and either tip it or make sure the goalie can't see it. And that's I think if you just try to play run and gun pond hockey with Edmonton, you're probably not going to fare so well. I mean, they have some weapons, but um, you're not going to outpace McDavid. So if you turn it into kind of a grind um, cycle, kind of and a little bit of ugly hockey, just seeing eye shot kind of game, you can have success there. And they did. We Our big defenders, Nurse and Larson getting hurt didn't help, but um, I don't feel like we're nasty enough on clearing, the important parts of the ice. Um, we got, I think, exploited a little bit on face-offs, um, and some general coverage issues. I think too, like they did a good job. I have to give them credit of quieting our power play. They got us. I don't know if they deserve credit for it or we need to take full blame for it. But in game three, we were undisciplined. There were some bullshit calls, but we were undisciplined. Like that Josh Archibald interference call. I have no problem with that call, and what I do have a problem with is that is the dumbest penalty of the series and probably the playoffs. It it just was unnecessary. Like I don't know if you were trying to stick up for McDavid there or what the deal was, but it was not good. Yeah, tonight there was lots of loose change that we couldn't find and bury. Um, could have easily been a different hockey game for sure. There was a lot of pucks in the paint that needed to get in the net and just didn't. Um, Nurse looks bad on the end of the gameplay there, where he, makes a hell of a play at the blue line to keep the puck in, and then goes kind of on a little 2-on-1 and rifles a clapper. Tries to go top left corner, but probably put it into the 15th row. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not much. And he hammered it. I mean, that would have went through the net if he actually hit it, but you got to hit the net there. Yeah, there's gonna be some Coors coming up. I gotta go back to my work here in a little bit and go and grab them. Maybe I'll do another pod after I've got some cold ones, but just wanted to come on now. I gotta go and get ready to do a job tomorrow. I'm working on some stairs. I thought I'd be coming home to watch another hockey game tomorrow after doing some work, but apparently that's not in the cards for me. So that kind of sucks. So now my weekend now is all dismal because it's pissed off now, and then it's all work Saturday and Sunday to make some extra money. So oh well, such is life. I'll probably get more work done because I'll have hate anger behind me. So yeah, no, thanks for watching and hanging out. That's cool. I wish it didn't have to be this way and there was more Oilers hockey to talk about, but probably won't do any more of these until free agency or draft time. Um, and 2020 is such a cruel bitch. I think we can kiss goodbye any thought of getting Lafreniere, but who knows? Some miserable son of a bitch is probably going to be happy in a few hours and win the 50-50 too. So we'll see what goes on. Oh, the Leafs won. Oh, perfect. Yeah, great. That's another reason to have another beer. There might be shit can tomorrow and be calling in hungover. Yeah, yeah. It's not the funnest time to be an Oilers fan, but we've been here before. Disappointment seems to come with the territory at times, but then we get blessed with a great draft pick. So maybe there is a chance at Lafreniere, but we'll see what goes down. Oh man, yeah, I don't know. We never, you know, we never really got on a serious groove in this series. Game two a little bit, but when we got that first goal tonight, you get a second one, and I think you're on your way to a rout. But Chicago finds a way to tie it up, and I'm sorry, wraparound goals in elimination games. Everybody's gonna say Russell put it in the net, but if Miko's standing up tall and he just pushes from one side of the net to the other side of the net and hugs that post with his leg like he's supposed to, that puck has no chance of going in the net. So I'm not letting Miko totally off the hook for that either. I think after the second goal he settled in, but you can't gift good teams. You can't spot them easy goals, and Smith did that right off the hop in game one, gave the Hawks life and belief, and it snowballed from there. In game two, there was another giveaway by Miko. Fortunately, it didn't end up costing us, but there's that game three. There's that little slow dribbler that finds its way into the back of the net. You gotta have that. You have to have that. You can't just like put your paddle down and hope and pray that you're gonna get it. You gotta either get it with your blocker or get it with your glove and make sure it gets the fuck out of the way. You can't let that in. That you know it's that kind of shit that bothers me. And George Laraque said on Oilers Live, we did a podcast, during the pandemic pause. He said our goaltending isn't good enough, and you know what? I think he's right. Miko and Mike, they are what they are, but they aren't the creme de la creme in the NHL. And I think that's what you need really to go far and to win a cup. And Carey Price just pretty much on his head against Pittsburgh. I mean, tonight the rest of the team showed up for him, but he gave them a chance to win that series and stole some games for him. Like 2 out of their 3 wins, he basically stole for them. We didn't get a goalie to steal us one game in this series, and I think if that would have happened, we would have won the series because Connor and Leon's talent would have overrode. But what ifs don't really do any good now. We'll see what the off season brings if some changes are made. There's definitely going to be a little bit of tinkering that goes on, and you're going to lose a player in the expansion draft as well. So things will be different. Anyways, thanks everybody for watching. I may or may not come back on later with some beers in my hand. Got to go do a couple things, and if I see you later, I see you later. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and if you're part of the mega thread, thanks for hanging out with me for a season and change, I guess we'll call it, because it's felt like a season and a little bit of change. And I guess things will get back up, I think December, January, something like that. So I will leave you with my patented move. You all keep reaching for the stars and keep your sticks on the ice. Peace out.